My question is just the safety of the Jews in Israel, in Russia now, because a lot of them feel like Putin is good to them. They tell the story of him growing up with a lot of Jewish people. And I was just curious, from your viewpoint, if the Jews there really should feel comfortable or really on their toes to get out and get their money out.
Well, some of them are, including friends of mine. $50 billion has left Russia just in this year. But that, I think, is related to this bigger crisis. You know, it's a hard, I don't have a good answer, but I think it's an important thing to realize about dogs that don't bark, right? One of the great achievements of the Russian regime since the collapse of the Soviet Union has been the absence of anti-Semitic movements and violence, and it could have happened. I truly believe it could have happened. The specter of there are fascist groups in Russia. I've met them. I know them. They're not my friends, but it's my job as an ambassador and as a professor to understand these folks. They're there. They're scary, and the fact that they are so weak so far is a real achievement. And I give Vladimir Putin credit for that. I do. I know the Jewish community in Russia well, and they probably told you the same thing. He has been a supporter. And it's complicated because there's the formal, I'm sure you know all the intramural politics, right, of who's close to the Kremlin and who's not. But when I was ambassador, even the ones that were distant were satisfied, and those that worked closely with them were a great achievement. And the new museum, I don't know if you went there, but fantastic achievement. Putin helped to put that together. So I give him credit for that. What I am afraid of, however, today is something new that has started as a result of this current crisis, which is that they are whipping up nationalistic fervor inside Russia right now. I first went to the Soviet Union as a kid, as a student in 1983. My first trip abroad, by the way. And my mother in Montana thought I'd lost my mind. But I went to the evil empire back then. And I've been following Russian events and Soviet events fairly closely on and off since then. I don't remember a period of time where this just nationalism is being stoked by the state-controlled Russian media. And what happens is, and I personally experienced this as ambassador, they're stoking it for one set of objectives, but then people are not so easily controllable. You don't just switch this stuff on and off. And that, sir, is partly a part of my answer to your question about Eastern Ukraine, right? They said we got to go save our ethnic brothers in Eastern Ukraine, and most certainly some of the people that marched across the border were doing it because they were feeling that feeling of ethnic pride and nationalism. And that was stoked by the propaganda, but it can spin out of control. And I worry about it right now more than at any time in the last 25 years. A surge of nationalism inside Russia is really, really dangerous.